What's up? What's going on? And welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about the 2020 presidential election, uh, specifically the polling data. So this is a Twitter post I made yesterday talking about the Trafalgar polls and how I plan to release a video later this week. Well, here we go. So, by the way, speaking of Twitter, yes, I do give sneak peeks to my videos, tweet about stuff, that I talk about. So I'm not one of the spam tweeters who tweets 10 times a day. I tweet like once or twice a day. But still, I'm going to ask you to follow the Twitter. Please do that. We're currently at, how many followers we at? We're at 39 followers. So, yeah, 39 followers. Let's try to get to 40. So, essentially, I tweeted saying, okay, well, there's been a lot of talk about the Trafalgar polls because of how controversial they've been, because the common narrative from the polling data has been, comparing it to, looking at the state of, say, Michigan, ISPAS, Biden up by 8, Biden up by 7, Change, Biden up by 7, SurveyMonkey, Biden up by 8, by 9, ISPAS, Peters up by 5, Peters up by 5, Biden up by 10, Peters up by 6, and then we see this one poll, or actually two, Trump up by 1, Trump up by 1. So it's easy to dismiss this poll as an outlier. Okay, well, they're putting Trump up by 1, and all these other polls are putting Biden up by 11, so even if Biden's going to win because the polling data that we've seen has him ahead, except for this one poll that's putting the Republicans up by a very, very small amounts. All right. Well, what if I told you that this poll was correct in 2016? This was the same poll that put Trump up by 2. He ended up they overestimated him by a little bit, as I show here. They overestimated him a little bit, but they got it more right. They were a better poll than Gravis, than Fox, than public policy polling, than Detroit Free Press, than Emerson, better than MRG, better than Detroit News, better than CBS/YouGov, better than Survey USA. Fox got one. They had one good poll that put Trump up by 1. Okay. Great. They got it right. But let's compare that to, say, their Nevada polls in 2018. Jackie Rosen won by 5. She was the Democrat. Trafalgar put Heller up by 3. So we have to debunk this poll, but also acknowledge how good it is. So in short, I tweeted saying, okay, well, I made this YPMS document. I don't know why I called it that map. And they don't poll a ton of states. They stick to the Rust Belt and the Sun Belt. Like, they don't, like, for some reason in 2016, 2018, they didn't poll either Minnesota or Wisconsin. And I think, and they didn't poll any of those states, or they haven't polled any of these states yet. Or I don't think they have. I'll have to check that in a second. But, again, Trafalgar, I noticed, overestimates the Republican support, and in North South Carolina being likely, that doesn't matter. They overestimate Republican support in Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, the Sun Belt. But they underestimated it a little bit in Michigan and Ohio. And in Pennsylvania, they were 100% accurate. In 2016, they were nearly perfect in Pennsylvania. So let's see what they're saying about these states this time around. But before we do that, actually, I'm going to make sure that they haven't polled Minnesota, because I don't think I checked. It looks like they have not polled Minnesota, which... Oh, they did. And they put, this is the poll that had it as even. They polled it and said it was even. All right. So, again, I don't factor this into the map because of the fact that, we don't know who's going to win Minnesota yet. It's looking like it's leaning towards Biden, but again, it could go to Trump. I wouldn't be completely shocked. So, essentially, let's see what they're saying about some of these states. Now, in the state of Nevada, we're going to pull up the 2020 polls from Nevada. Again, RCP I like because it averages the polls out better than 538 does. But 538 records every single poll. RCP does not do that. So let's see. I think that they actually haven't been polling this, but just to make sure, we're going to check. So I'm going through all the way to 2019 for the Democratic primary, and they have not. They've yet to poll Nevada. All right, so now we're going to go to the state of Arizona, which I'm pretty sure that they have polled before. So in Arizona, we're going to look for that poll. Hopefully, it wants to... Oh, we got lucky. They pulled the Senate race there. They put Kelly up by 2. Well, let's compare it to the 2018 Senate polls. in Arizona between Martha McSally and Kirsten Sinema. It looks like they underestimated Sinema. They put McSally up by 2. She lost by 2.3. They underestimated the Democratic Party by 4.3%. So, as I said, they underestimate GOP support in Arizona. But they're still putting the Democrat ahead, so that says a lot. So maybe we can expect Kelly to win by 4.5 points. I don't know. They also put Biden behind Trump by 4. This is literally the only poll that we're seeing, other than this random poll, that has put Biden behind Trump in Arizona. Every other poll, Biden is ahead. And I sound like a lunatic right now, but this is because literally you cannot just dismiss these polls. These polls are completely reasonable. What are the best polls saying? Well, here's an A, B rated poll. Biden up by 5, Kelly up by 6. B rated poll. Biden up by 3, Kelly up by 11. A plus poll. Biden up by 2. A plus poll sampling registered voters. Biden up by 6. So Trafalgar, and I'll let you in a secret, I don't trust Trafalgar. They, especially in the state, and now we can talk about whether I trust Trafalgar in Pennsylvania. I do. But in Arizona, they are doing nothing different than Monmouth University is. And they're getting a different number. Why? Because this is a GOP internal poll, first of all. And second, they're oversampling a lot of white voters or a lot of Hispanic voters more towards the northern part of Arizona, north of Maricopa County, who are going to be voting for Trump. That's just a fact. And if you want to pull this up, yes, you can do that. You can look at this exact poll, and they have it on Google Drive. That's pretty funny. The lesson of Trafalgar's superior strategy, innovative tactics, but by that they do it differently than others. But they don't, they have no secret. They conduct it differently. Look, these are likely voters, so that's what they deem as likely. Margin of error, yeah, Biden's not within the margin of error, but again, not a good response distribution. No, I'm looking at the wrong poll. And again, I still think this is a bad poll, just because people are going to call me out, oh, you're liberally biased, you just want Kelly to win. No, I still think this is a bad poll. You know why? Because there are a lot of people being sampled in between the ages of 45 and 64. Kelly's still winning. Ethnicity, mostly white. This is not a representative of Arizona. Arizona is a lot more Hispanic than that is. Arizona, they oversampled females, so whatever. I don't care. That's one good thing for the Democrats. The rest was bad. I'm trying to look for the poll that. Here we go. Look at this. Likely voters. Margin of error. Okay. Not a good response distribution. They put Trump ahead, barely. What do we see here? Less than 10%, 18 to 24. Barely 25 to 34. 45 to 64. That's what they're polling. They're polling middle-aged white voters who are going to be voting for Donald Trump. They pulled a lot of 65 and older voters in Arizona. Believe me, my grandparents live there. All their friends are voting for Donald Trump. All their friends are voting for Donald Trump. Okay, because they're all 65 and older. That's the demographic that Trump wants to go for. Mostly white voters, 21% Hispanic. That's absolutely abysmal. And they're oversampling females. Okay, only by a little bit, but it's it's one thing if they're undersampling the Hispanics in Florida, then I can be like, okay, maybe the Democrats are in trouble. But in Arizona, where you have the Hispanics carrying the Democrats to victory in some cases, that is not acceptable. That's why I don't trust Trafalgar. And they're oversampling these older white voters, and that's why you're getting a skewed result. That's why you're putting Trump ahead by 4. Now let's see what an A+ poll like Monmouth would do. Kind of on a presidential poll, Monmouth. Let's see what they're saying. Let's pull Biden up by... Oh, this is going to be... Okay, well... Nah, that'll be hard to analyze. I'll have to pause and edit this out. And look at this. The poll overall, Biden up by 6. They 50% for Biden. And in a lot of these undecided voters, I can bet that at least 2% of this 4% are going to be voting for Biden. Possibly more. If I had to guess, I'd say 2.5 to 3%. So Biden's already at 50. This poll looks a lot better. They're sampling more voters, first of all. I mean, you can literally see, they're sampling registered voters, unlike Trafalgar, which is sampling likely voters. They could sample me. They could say I'm a likely voter. They could say I'm just a voter. They don't know. I can say that I'm a squeaky-voiced 18-year-old who plans to vote for Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Whatever. I can say that. Registered voters, though, they confirm that you're registered. So Yeah, Arizona, I don't trust their polls. But now we're going to go, and I sound like a lunatic there because I spent 5 minutes talking about how bad Trafalgar is in Arizona, but we're also going to talk about the state of Michigan. Now, Michigan, in the 2018 Senate race, let's see what they said. Well, it looks like they overestimated Debbie Stabenow. She only won by 6.4. I say only, but she won by 6.4. They had her up by 9. Okay, so I trusted it a bit more. Here, so I'm going to see if... Oh, there you go, it'll give me the link. Trafalgar. They surveyed Trump approval, and they had a lot of people who approved Donald Trump who are going to be voting for her. The ballot, they put Stabenow up. Then you had a lot of... They actually, in this case, they oversampled black voters. They oversampled other... Michigan is not 73% white. It's more like 75 to 80. And that's just... And again, you're going to say, okay, you're being nitpicky. Well, I am being nitpicky, but Michigan, this isn't like you're sampling Wyoming and you oversample the black vote by 2%. No, you're sampling Michigan, which is a contested state where you cannot... Or to get it right, you have to have a perfect poll where you sample exactly the right number of people. So that's why they got it wrong. That's why they predicted Stabenow would win by more than she did. We are also going to see what they said in 2016. They overestimated Trump by a little bit, but they were basically right on the mark. Maybe 1% would have been better. But I trust them. If they're putting, let's see what they're saying this time around. If they're putting Donald Trump up by 1 in Michigan, I will factor that into my methoding and to my methodology. And I already have. In my model that I'm going to run, I'm going to show you guys that as soon as I can. Michigan. Where's Michigan? Look, Donald Trump is behind. Or he's ahead, excuse me. John James is ahead. I can factor that in. That's why I think that these races are close. But in Pennsylvania, their best state, here's why I think Biden's going to win. What does Trafalgar say? Trafalgar puts Biden up by 1. Trafalgar is putting Biden up by 2. So I 100% trust these polls in Pennsylvania, not so much in Arizona. So again, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications so you never miss another video, and I'll see you all in the next one.